Paul Bisonnette, who is part of the Spit and Chicklets podcast. He's on the TNT broadcast as well for the NHL. Kind of took Gary Bettman to task a little bit, to the point where Gary Bettman felt he needed to respond.
Bettman's response was so stupid. So
give a little context on what happened.
So Biz asked Gary, he's like, do you not think it's time to do something to level the playing field? This whole state tax, like look at Vegas, look at Tampa, look at Florida. There's a reason the state of Florida
Texas
has represented the East every year for the last 6 years of the Cup final. And he says, oh, that's ridiculous. Teams care about a good practice facility and good living condition. Bro, they make millions of dollars. They can afford good living conditions. Everybody has a good practice facility and a good gym. This isn't 1984, the New York Islanders not having a gym. Everybody has a gym. They have all the resources and the assets. And when you compare...
Yeah, unless you're in Phoenix the last couple of years, they're at the Mullet Arena.
That's been solved. That's not an issue anymore. But they had great tax incentives there, too.
Yeah.
The fact that you're going to compare in Florida, when there's no state tax, to the communist hellhole of Toronto, where they're getting taxed 54% at the lowest end. Mm-hmm. So our governor, Mr. Carney, who got airdropped in a couple months ago, gets 54% of the players' money. You get 46. Your family gets 46. Carney gets 54. Why would you go and play there on top of the media, all the other issues? They have to address the state tax thing.
And look, I know that there are people who are going to say, you're still making millions of dollars. Who cares how many millions it is in the grand scheme of things? I think the NHL has...
But can I correct you for 1 second? The fans say that, but the fans aren't the players. The fans have no grasp on what the players actually care about.
Let me finish. The NHL has not a problem, but they have a situation where they either have to... And I think Biz has got a point, where the playing field has to be leveled. But you also got to keep in mind that if players have the choice, and you've said it yourself, one of the best places you've played is Biloxi, Mississippi, because you get to walk out of the rink in the middle of January in your shorts. I mean, there is an appeal to that. There are certain players who don't want to be bothered having dinner every single night when they go out with their wives or girlfriends, whatever it may be, and they don't get that down in Tampa where they would in Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and some of these more hot hockey markets. So there is a bit of a balance. The NHL has to figure out if they want to kind of say the salary cap is going to go up a little bit and down a little bit depending on what market you're in, or they do what Major League Baseball has done and say spend as much money as you want. If you go above this threshold, you're going to get charged a luxury tax. If you don't spend enough, you're going to get charged on the other end, and there's going to fit into that happy medium. I don't think you're going to ever get a even playing field in any sport, which is why baseball did that. And that's why you're going to see the Dodgers and the Yankees at the top of their respective divisions on a regular basis. But when it comes to the NHL, we still have teams like Winnipeg, who is a very hotbed, small market, sure. But then you look at Buffalo on the other end, small market, and two completely different state taxes, or provincial to state. There's no right answer. Gary Bettman didn't give the best response, but Biz brings up a good point.
Luxury tax kind of sounds like in Canada. Any car over $100,000, 20% luxury tax. Yeah. Not many nice cars here. Leave a voicemail. What do you think? Thanks for the call, by the way, Adrian. Also, the Trevor Bauer situation.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that he's been freed. I hope he comes back in the game sometime soon.
We are about a month out from finding out what the verdict's going to be on that Hockey Canada situation.
July 24th is the day.
There you go.
And everybody who shat on me a year ago and said, you don't know what you're talking about, I expect an apology from every last one of you.
We do a hockey podcast called Sling the Biscuit every single Sunday. The clips, the bite-sized chunks are right here. Only the hits, the full-length show, which you don't want to miss, is right here. That's Dave. I'm Travis. We'll see you soon.